I just had a horrible nightmare. I had a dream where I was a YouTuber playing a game about naked gnomes. Oh. The naked gnome thing isn't real, right?
About 12 to 15.
Hello everyone, I am Minidroit, and today I'll be checking out Ramona. Ramona is a Roblox platforming adventure game I randomly stumbled upon one day looking for interesting games to review. Its presentation and cover art piqued my interest and seemed pretty high quality on my preliminary examination of it. Now, if you know me, you know I love adventure games. And literally adventure, and this may come as a shock, I don't like platformers. I'm familiar with and I've played some pretty good platformers from the Mario series. I know Roblox has very good obbies as well. But, overall, they really don't interest me. I've asked you for a game with a good story and RPG element over a challenging platformer where I toil every level. So I hope that Ramona's story augments my experience more than its gameplay may hinder it. Now before I review this game, I think a photosensitivity warning. This game has bright flashing lights, so if you have seizure disorder or any other photosensitivity elements, this video is not for you. With that out of the way, let's get into the review. And what better way to talk about a game than to quickly summarize its plot. You play as Ramona, a quiet young girl who has been having a persistent streak of nightmares. Ramona, ailed by these nightmares, is determined to stop them once and for all. While simple, it's all the game needs, and I appreciate the story for not trying to overwhelm the player. With that out of the way, let's talk about its gameplay. I've already mentioned in the intro that I don't like platformers, but Ramona is interesting in that it has a unique and unconventional design choice. It's fixed camera. Unlike most three-dimensional platformers I've played, Ramona fixes the camera parallel to the x-axis, and this is an interesting design choice. By fixing the camera to the global x-axis, Ramona essentially plays like a two-dimensional game in a three-dimensional space. And boy does that cause some issues. There's a reason why most fixed camera 3D games use an isometric camera projection. Gauging depth in the z-axis is horrible. During my first playthroughs, I had a lot of difficulty traversing between platforms because of how hard it was to gauge my depth. I was consistently undershooting my jumps. I get that it's an aesthetic choice, but it's not worth implementing if it severely hinders the gameplay experience. I feel like the developer knew about the depth issue too. The entire map consists of tiled floors that help you gauge where you are in relation to the environment. Emphasis on try though. These barely help with platforming. Enough with the fundamentally flawed design of the game. Let's talk about its map. It's pretty good. The map's divided into three distinct segments. The lava worlds, the ice world, and the... whatever this place is. In the first two worlds, the only challenge to the player is the environment. At the end of each lava world, Ramona learns a new skill that lets her overcome an impediment blocking her way. I actually like this learning mechanic. It harmoniously melds gameplay with story. Each new skill that Ramona learns represents her overcoming an anxiety she has pertaining to the nightmare, with her physical journey mirroring her emotional journey. While Ramona only learns two new skills, they are essential to fundamentally change how you approach the levels. For example, before learning to dash, I'd waste time going around this curve. But after learning it, I can just skip this gap. That's not remarkable, is it? Man, I know I said I wouldn't keep talking about this, but this camera angle is genuinely horrible. Look at this path. While approaching it, it looks like you have to move deeper into the map to pass through. But you actually have to jump because the depth perception is horrible. Lord. After learning how to dash, you run to your sister, who's been having the same persistent nightmares that have been vexing you. Something more sinister must be happening. She's probably a demon child. As you enter the Ice World's lava section, you see some laser beams. Or whatever they are. Running into them doesn't kill you. Instead, it takes away one of your hearts. And then this heart mechanic is never used again because every other environmental hazard kills you instantly. Why have such a useless health system if it's extremely situational? The point of a health system is to prevent the player from starting over after being injured. So why is this system used so sparingly? It'd be great if falling to lava took away one or half your hearts, similar to how Mario 64 manages its health system. The coins you collect could even replenish your health. Ramona's health system seems really lazily implemented. How to make the game more forgiving regarding its environmental hazards. Skipping the ice world because nothing else happens there. We enter the corrupted realm and encounter our first enemies. These enemies are like, really pathetic though. They can only kill you after a few seconds of huddling behind you and have no ranged attacks. I get that these are the first enemies, but you could have given us more of a challenge, you know? So, after doing some intricate platforming and press some buttons, we open a shut-off gate and get to fight the final boss. The Nightmares Incarnate. This boss battle is actually amazing. Uses the health mechanic well and the boss has multiple unique faces that keep you on your toes. While some of the attacks are pretty poorly telegraphed, the aesthetics of the battle make up for some of its divisive gameplay choices. Most Roblox games will put in the effort to make good boss fights, so I appreciate Ramona's developer for pulling it off. And after beating a challenging boss battle, that's it! You wake up with your sister and are relieved that the nightmare is over. kind of. You see, while these are the proper end credits, this isn't the true ending. No. Remember those coins I was talking about earlier? Yeah. You need to collect all of them to get the true ending. Collecting all the coins is really tedious. You constantly have to backtrack after learning the scope because some of the coins are hidden in inaccessible places. Well, after toiling and beating the boss the second time, you wake up and encounter some really cheesy and unfitting dialogue from your little sister. Whoa. So she was a demon child. I knew it. Collecting all the coins rewards you with Nightmare Mode, and boy did I have a lot to say about it. The main gimmick of Nightmare Mode is that any damage take ends your playthrough, and there are no checkpoints. I wish there was a word to describe this. I get that Nightmare Mode is supposed to be challenging and for the most dedicated fans of the game, but I think there's a clear line between a challenging experience and a futile one. A challenging game tests your understanding of the game's mechanics while making the levels feel fair. They're difficult but fulfilling. Beating Nightmare Mode is futile! Sure, I am not the best platform player and I do not have any speedrunning allocates, but you should have to be the best player to get the game's true ending. You should be adept in Minidroit, but the game should not try to add challenge to the level by adding artificial constraints. The most egregious thing about Nightmare Mode is the continued neglect of the heart system. What's an easy way to make Nightmare Mode fairer? Actually use the heart systems so that players can make mistakes. The map is devoid of coins, so the challenge of the mode persists while the player's enjoyment is augmented. Ramona finds itself in a strange position where, in one mode, its heart system is pointless and scarcely usable, and in another it's entirely neglected. It doesn't have to be this way. Give the player some mercy using the health system you implemented in your game. I can definitively affirm that I have not beaten Nightmare Mode or gotten the true ending. Its artificial difficulties are very hampers the gameplay experience for me, and I do not have all the time in the world to waste trying to beat this unfair game mode. There's a reason why rage games are universally panned by the average player. Hong Kong 97 for example. No one legitimately plays this game out to understand why it's so frustrating. Enough of the poor design of Nightmare Mode. Let's talk about other parts of the game. Ramona's OST is... how do I put this in a nice way? Bad. It's not good. Most of the OST consists of the same bass song played by different instruments to match the environment. While I do fit the scene, the actual theme is poorly written. I'm not a fan of how stilted it sounds. It's really phoned in and sounds artificial. It actually sounds like a Rust GarageBand project. I don't like most of the instrument's timbres. Aside from some secrets in how the Nightmare Mode ends, that's all there is to this game. So, what do I think about Ramona? It's pretty decent. It's not often I come across a roller game with a good story, but Ramona's one of those exceptions. Sure, I did find the trending dialogue a little silly and unfitting, but Ramona's more about the journey rather than the ending. It was a pretty fun journey. Of course, a game is more than a story. Some of the gameplay choices were divisive and its OST was bad. But for a solo effort, it was impressive. I only wish the Nightmare was fair and the deputy was fixed. But I guess I'd wait for Ramona Reimagined to see if this happens. Well, that's all to say about the game. It's around a 7 out of 10 for me. It was enjoyable at some pretty nagging design choices. Well, that's all to say. Goodbye all. I'm going back to bed now.